T54E1 can effectively research any tank in USA tank tree and help you to reach endgame as soon as possible. In this video I will try to overview what makes this tank so different from other vehicles and how it feels to play it. Reload is the first thing that comes to mind when talking about this tank. It is so fast that multiple enemies will not be able to safely attack you during your reload, as you will be able to shoot every 5 seconds, even if your loader is knocked out. When dealing with single enemies, that means sometimes after surviving one of your hits, they won't have enough time to turn towards you before you can shoot them again. This 105mm gun is reloaded so fast because it has a drum containing 9 shells and automatic reload mechanism that reloads them every 5 seconds. That is a fixed time and it doesn't depend on your crew. Whenever you are not shooting for a while, loader starts relocating shells from ammunition rack into the drum. And this depends on loader skill. With aced crew, relocating takes about 20 seconds. So if you used all 10 shells quickly, 1 in the barrel and 9 in a drum, you must wait for the shell to be located into drum and then 5 seconds for an autoloader to place it into gun. The tank has 3 shells available. Unlike most of the tanks which have multiple ammo options but use only 1 or 2 of them, everything this tank shoots is playable, and depending on situation, one or another option might be more effective. Heat fin stabilized with more than 1.5 kilograms of TNT equivalent of explosives has the biggest penetration, 380mm. Additionally, most of the light tanks will be hull broken by the shell. But big penetration caused by explosives has its price. First of all, at these battle ratings you will meet tanks with composite or reactive armor plates, which are very effective against heat shells. Another thing, every tree or bush that is on shell's path will activate the fuse that is extremely annoying and sometimes even makes it impossible to hit an opponent who can shoot at you. And of course, post-penetration effect is quite small. This is when armor-piercing shell comes handy. Despite they will not hull break light tanks so easily, over 6 kg APDS shell can be used to shoot through some buildings or trees and have slightly more post-penetration effect, but at a cost of only around 300mm of penetration. If you take 16 kg armor-piercing ballistic capped shell, the post-penetration effect is significantly better than previous two, but the penetration is decreased even further. All these shells' muzzle velocity is over a kilometer per second, which makes it comfortable to shoot at big distances. But since all shells are good, the question of which ammo to use will arise again and again during this video. Tank has 4 crew members, 3 in a turret and a driver sitting slightly lower. So any penetration in turret with shell that has huge post-penetration effect will very likely one-shot you. Additionally, you have a weak spot that is right below turret. Armor here is not thin but very flat, so expect to be one-shotted by more experienced players frontally unless your hull is hidden. On the other hand, everything that's above your turret ring is very likely to ricochet most of the shots. The armor here is not thick, it's slightly more than 100mm on average, but the angles are crazy. And that is another very notable thing about this vehicle. Whenever enemy shoots at your upper part of a turret, it is very likely that shell will ricochet. So you can reliably tank quite a lot of hits with this part. But I had a feeling that a gun was damaged way more often playing this vehicle than any other tank. So tanking a shell does not mean that you will be able to fight back soon. Chassis, despite also having a plate at a good angle, is too thin at these battle ratings to be effective. So in general, the most reliable armor is the top of the turret. Try to hide everything else whenever possible. Turret rotation speed is comparable to most similar tanks, 18 degrees per second, and overall is comfortable. Because of unusual turret, gun's depression is -8 degrees, that is 2 degrees less than usual for American tanks. Elevation is also more limited, only 13 degrees. This could cause some issues when moving downhill, but in practice I never was in a situation when more elevation was required and remembered about that only when tried to shoot planes. Maximum speed forward is 43 km per hour. Though the tank is really heavy for its engine, and despite you normally can keep speed close to your max on even surface, but snow or wet ground will bring a noticeable decrease in maneuverability, and as soon as you need to climb bigger hill on any surface, you will lose all that speed instantly. Backward speed is 11 km per hour. That is fast enough to comfortably hide behind a rock in reasonable amount of time. Steering is quite fast, and the ability to do that while standing in place will be useful in city streets between houses where space is limited. It has coaxial small caliber machine gun and one high caliber on top. And despite you will meet a lot of light tanks at 8.0 battle rating with such rate of fire of a main gun, you will just hull break them before being able to do something with your machine gun. And rangefinder will let you acquire the distance faster and up to over 2 km away. In arcade, first of all, I would use mostly AP shells and take few heat when I need that extra penetration, for 2 reasons. First, very often situation when enemy's name is visible through bushes. If you both can see each other, the one who can easily shoot through obstacles will have a huge advantage. Another reason, post-penetration effect. You want more of it in arcade because of crew replenishment. Very often only a small part of a tank, usually turret, will be visible. And if you cannot kill that last crew member, there is a chance that once replenishment is complete, he will hide behind cover to repair and become dangerous again, even despite you nearly killed it before. As most of the battles in arcade are 2 teams hiding behind rocks and hills, killing anyone who dares to show up in the open, turret's armor will play a huge role in tank survivability. Most of the time I was able to peek over the cover without getting killed, even if I knew that someone is waiting for me. But when you are trading shots with someone over a long distance with only turrets visible, you will miss a lot of shots, and sooner or later you reach a point when your drum is empty. So try to push together with your team so you could quickly reload your drum on a capture point. The best case scenario is when you stand on a capture point and there is cover to hide your hull. Then this tank becomes a real beast, able to send shell every 5 seconds and be almost invincible for incoming fire. Additionally, tank feels significantly more maneuverable and faster. It's not only helping you to take good position faster, but also useful whenever your drum is empty. Very often it will be much faster to turn around and get to a closest capture point to reload your drum than waiting for loader to first load shells into primary ammo rack and then additional 5 seconds for an autoloader to load it into barrel. In realistic, tank speed very strongly depends on a route you choose. While you drive through fields or roads, the tank will be able to keep up with most of the medium tanks or even be faster. But if there is water or hill on your way, it will significantly slow you down. On some maps where capture point is located on a hill, this might affect where to respawn, as in some locations you will arrive too late to take part in capturing. Also, that will make it harder to get back to capture point to reload tank's drum, but that's rarely an issue as realistic games are slower and you will not be shooting so actively, so 20 seconds reload into drum should be enough most of the time. Also, in realistic you are much more likely to be flanked, so you are less likely to be shot at turret, and the rest of the vehicle is easy penetratable at these tiers, so survivability is not that good as it was in arcade. And of course we are facing ammunition choice again. This time, considering that most often you will shoot when have a direct line of sight at an enemy, heat shells will be comfortable to use, and in addition to that, light tanks, very popular vehicle class in realistic, will be one-shotted by hull break. Overall, tank is very forgiving for bad shooting. Missed a shot? No problem. Another shell is available in 5 seconds. Enemy appeared right in front. Who cares that you don't have stabilizer? Shoot first, and after you stop and can aim more precisely, send another shell. Some enemies who don't know this tank will come out of the corner just after you missed your shot, thinking that they have plenty of time to approach you safely. On the other hand, the only thing that can be used in your defense is turret stop armor, while almost everyone else can use smoke to cover themselves. The reload speed means that you can very effectively switch between different ammunition options in quickly changing environment to have the best shell for current situation. Just don't forget to count shells in tank's drum or use the X-ray view in battle to know how many shells left in a drum to be shot quickly. If you have only one shell left, it might be better to switch to more defensive gameplay until loader places more ammo into drum. This offensively oriented tank still felt like a good choice for new players, and in my opinion it is the best of 4 currently available tanks for a new starter. It's not only that unskilled shots are compensated by ability to shoot more of them, but the crew skill has less impact, since 5 seconds reload is a fixed number. You can start with a fresh crew and still feel very good on a battlefield. It also lets you try a helicopter combat, as requirement to buy them is any rank 5 tank. Autoloader is an unusual thing in USA tank tree, so it's not only economical and research benefits that this tank provide, but at the same time it introduces some new tactics that will bring more variety to everyday games.